Now, good day, boys and girls. We meet once again for our classes, and here is our lesson for today. We are going to be looking at the recording of credit sales in the specific journal meant for that, and in this case, the journal that we use to record all credit sales is the Debtors journal, which is J. So I'm going to quickly explain this theory stuff before I do the actual DJ. When a customer buys goods, this is just a reminder. When a customer buys goods on credit, right? Let me take my highlighter here. So I say here, when a customer buys goods on credit, this must be recorded in a subsidiary journal. This must be recorded in a subsidiary journal. Remember, subsidiary journal simply means the book of first entry or the book of original entry. So the first book of entry for all credit sales is what? Is the Debtors journal, or simply the DJ. Right? The DJ is used to record all the credit sales, all of them. There is no other journal that is meant for that. And the source document that is used for the DJ is the duplicate invoice. Remember, we said whenever goods are sold on credit, there must be proof that the customer now owes. So the proof is shown on the what? Is shown on the duplicate, on the invoice, and this invoice is the duplicate which becomes our source document. Now remember that the original invoice is given to the customer, okay, and the business remains with the duplicate, so which is then used to capture the transaction in the DJ. Now that is basically the theory stuff that you need to know. We are going to be demonstrating now how we record this information in the Debtors journal or the DJ. So let us flip over our pages and go to page 79 of your workbook, not the textbook but your workbook. Now in your workbook, you will see there right on top there is example 1, which is already done for you there. Everything has been done for you there. So what I will be doing here is just to quickly explain for you what is happening. You will see there right on your, if you look at your workbook, day 3 there, they are saying issue an invoice for jeans and t-shirt purchased on account 460 rands to Miss Beauty D1, that is data number 1. Invoice number 234 was used. And remember now, we are given on top there that our markup is 100%. So whenever markup is 100%, remember in this case we are calculating the cost of sales because we are given the what? The sales. So if you look at your information here, this is how the Debtors journal looks like. It has got this first column here. Okay, the first thing rather is the heading. Debtors journal of sports fashion for April 2006. It's DJ4. That is your heading. Then from your heading now, you come to your document number. Here, this is where you'll be recording all the invoice numbers. You just record the invoice numbers as they will be given there. Even if they just give you one, you know they flow in the chronological order, so they will always follow one after another. Then the day column, you're writing the date of the transaction. Here in this column, we normally call it details. Here for the DJ is called Debtors. You write only the names of the debtors, that is the names of the customers that have bought goods on credit from you as a business. Then in the folio column, this is where you will be showing this data is data number what? Is it the first data, second data, third data, fourth, depending on how many datas you have. So if a customer buys from you twice, you won't change the D number here. It will be, if it is D1, it will be D1 even on the next transaction that the person has bought goods from you. Then the selling price, that is the sales, is recorded here in this column of sales. And then the cost price is recorded in the cost of sales column. So you will see that the DJ is one of the simplest journals to prepare because it only has got these two columns. That is your sales as well as your cost of sales. These are the only two columns. There is no sundry, there is no any other column. So it must be pretty simple. So what is key here is in most cases you will be given the sales. So when you are given the sales, you calculate the cost of sales. If you are given the cost of sales, you calculate the sales. Remember, sales is SP, selling price. Cost of sales, CP, cost price. You must always bear that in mind. And the difference between these two is the profit, which we call markup MU. Alright, so in this case, on day 3, Miss Beauty was a customer, so we write the name here. And this one you may even leave it, but it's fine, you can record it here. I've just done it for you so that you know how to record it when you do your other examples, your work in the workbook. Right, so the sales, as you can see there in your workbook, it was 460. So since it was 460 and the markup was 100%, one other thing that I can quickly tell you is that whenever markup is 100%, then you know that your cost of sales is a half of this. So half of 460 is 230. Simple as that. Then you go to the next date. In this case, it's day 5. So our invoice now is 235. The person who bought Mrs. Perfect, and then Mrs. Perfect is data number 2. We'll see this when we post, but we're not gonna do it for now. Then from there we go to the selling price. What was the selling price? You can see there in your workbook, 230 was the selling price. So you divide this by 2, or remember, if you don't want to do the divide by 2, you use that formula that I've taught you to say whenever calculating CP, use a proper fraction. Here our markup is 100%. Cost price is always 100%. So if you say 100% here for markup, as 100% for cost price, it gives you 200%. Then that 200%, make it proper, it becomes 100 over 200. So in this case, is 100 over 200 times 230. It will give you the 115 rands, and that's it. Go to the next date, your document number becomes 236, and on day 10 they are saying G Player Incorporation orders clothing on credit for 4,300. That's data number 3. You write the name. Yeah, you have written the name here. In the folio you write D3, which is the data number 3 or account number 3. Then in the sales, 4,300, and cost of sales, half of this is 2,150. Then you go to the next day, which was day 12. Sold 3 pairs of shoes to Mr. Hank on account. Remember, on account simply means on credit. So you come here, invoice number 237, then the date was the 12th, and Mr. Hank, you write here the name of the debtor, D4, the amount of the selling price of the goods sold, 1,500. This divided by 2, or you simply say this multiplied by 100 over 200, it gives you 750. Then lastly, on day 20, we had V. Smith, so we write the document number, which is invoice number 238. Then you write day 20, V. Smith here is data number 5. The amount of goods bought was for 1,300. This multiplied by 100 over 200, it gives you 650. Right, having done this now, the next thing is for you to add whatever you have in this column of sales. So you add everything here, you put the total. Then you also add everything here, you put the total. Underline here, and below the total you put double line here. Mine I've just put a red line. And that's how you prepare your debtors journal. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. So what is key here, what will be just bothering you is to check, are you given the cost of sales or you are given the sales? In this case, we are given the sales, so we are calculating the cost of sales. And remember, for you to do this, you must always be given your markup. And here we are given, if you can see there right on top there of page 79, there is 100% it's given. So it becomes pretty easy. Every time when they give you 100%, you know that's a bonus. Because you just say half of what is given is your cost of sales. If you want to calculate, sales is times 2 of the cost of sales, and then you get the answer. Alright, so that is that example that you have there. So I want us to to look at this other example also that is given for you there. You see they have given you example 2, and they have left it blank for you to work on it. So I want us to quickly do it with you here. You must follow closely now as I will be demonstrating how you do it, and then after that you will do your homework, but obviously you must first complete this one. Now what I've done here on this slide is to quickly show you how you calculate the cost of sales, because we are not given here, but we are given, you can see again, fortunately we are given the cost, the markup, which is 100%. So once again that simplifies our life once the markup is 100%. So here I'm just quickly explaining this point to say, remember, when you are calculating the cost of sales, whenever you're calculating cost of sales, remember that I say using that formula of ours, we use a what? A proper fraction, right? Where do we get that proper fraction? Remember, it's coming from this particular formula. In our case here, we're calculating CP, and CP is obviously SP minus MU. In our case, our CP is 100%. This one is always the case. You don't need to be told. Cost price in terms of percentage, it's always 100%. Then markup you must be given. In our case, we are saying we're given it as 100. Then selling price, remember CP plus MU is equals to SP. So CP here in terms of percentage is 100, MU is 100, so it becomes 200%. Now this is the amount now that you are dealing with to decide whether you use a what? A proper fraction or an improper. And since here I've already told you we use a what? A proper fraction from this. Remember 200% is the same as saying 200 over 100. So if you actually make it proper, it's the proper fraction, a smaller number is on top of the bigger number. So it's 100, that will be over 200. That will be your proper fraction. So in this case, our proper fraction is 100 over 200. That's the one that you are dealing with here. In other words, it's 100 divided by 200. That's our proper fraction. Those who are quick in doing mathematics, you can see that this is actually half. And therefore, when you are calculating, you are simply saying half of the given amount, half of the given amount. So it becomes pretty simple there. So for day one, you can see that our selling price here was 2,600. So if you say half of 2,600, it gives you 1,300. Day 3, 600 was given. Half of that is 300. Day 9, 1.7. Half of that, 850. Day 15, 1,100. Half of that, 550. And day 23, 2,500. And half of that is 1,250. So I've just done the calculations here. Not that when you are writing, even in the exam, you have to first do the calculations, but I'm just doing it so that you have you see it clearly how you quickly get your answer. Or you can even follow that illustration given in your workbook right on top there next to those where they say note, take note there, where there are those juices there. Right. So take note there. I'm just reminding you this. Also note that, actually I wanted to say always note that whenever your markup is 100%, then you know that the CP will be half of the SP, like in our example. Alright, so that is basically your calculations of cost of sales. Then the next thing obviously will be now for us to what? To look at the DJ. How will it look like now? So once we have done that, then you want the heading now. Heading there, you find it right on A there where they say check the transactions that have been taken place for Grand Bazaar. So you come here and you say Debtors Journal of Grand Bazaars for January 2006. DJ number mang they didn't give us. Yes, so I've just chosen DJ number 1. Right. Then we start making our entries. Document number, we check our first transaction. They are saying here, Greens Incorporation buys vegetables on credit 2,600. Issue invoice number 45. So that's why I have got invoice number 45 here. Right. And then when was that? It was day 1, the 1st of January. The name of the data is Greens Incorporation. And then here, remember, I say you write D1 in that order. So you can write D1 here. And then the selling price 2,600. We have already calculated our cost of sales 1,300. You go to the next day, Here, if you look into your workbook, you are not given the invoice number. But remember, I've told you, once you are given the first one, they must flow in that order, chronological order. So it's now 46, invoice number 46, day 3, Bottle World. What was the amount of sales? 600. Half of that, 3,000. Right? Day 9, invoice number 47, S Sumi, and the amount was 1,700. We multiply that by 100, divided by 200, or half of that, which is 850. Right? Then we go to day 15. It's now invoice number 48. It's Mr. Miti. Then 1,100. Divide that by 2, 550. And that's it. Then we go to the last date there. In this case, it was day 23, invoice number 49. The Milky Bar, 2,500. Times 100 over 200, that's 1,250. We have made all our entries in the DJ. Then the next thing, we add all these amounts as they appear in your cost of sales. You put the total, add all the amounts in the sales, put the total, and you underline there. Remember, I forgot to underline mine here. You underline one there. Oh, you see now. I don't want this one. I want to remove this thing here. Alright. Then you come here. So I'm saying you come there, you put one line there below that amount. Then you come here at the bottom. I want you to put a double line. You must put a double line there. Do the same on this side. Alright, and then you do the same on this side, put a double line, and that's it. That is how we prepare our debtors journal. So it's pretty simple. So I want you now to do your homework on your own. Exercise 4.3, and that is number A. You only do A, where you are preparing the debtors journal. Your homework, the activity that I want you to do, is exercise 4.3 on page 83 of your workbook. You prepare that debtors journal. Prepare the debtors journal, exercise 4.3A on page 83 of your workbook. You only do the DJ. Alright, that is the end of our lesson for today. Wish you well and stay safe.